I'm John Gregg, editor of Farmterio. In this session of the Innovation Showcase at Canada's Digital Farm Show, we're looking at livestock innovations. We had quite a selection this year. Everything from products that help cattle immunity, to managing health in hog and poultry and cattle barns, to some automation and products that will help you improve the quality of the manure that's coming out of your manure pit. Have a look. Robotic milking systems continue to be upgraded and improved with new innovations as technology changes. Bomatic recently launched the Gemini version of its automated milking system. Kent Fraser, aftermarket sales manager for Canada for Bomatic, is here to tell us about it. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase, Kent.
Thank you very much for having me today.
So first of all, tell me about Bomatic and the role it plays in the agriculture and in the dairy sector.
So Bomatic is a milking equipment company with 80 years of experience in the dairy industry. We provide a full line of services from conventional parlor systems, tie stall systems, and robotic installations. We're recognized worldwide for our strong dealer network and our field support team to ensure that the farmers are satisfied and that the dairy market has a product on the shelf that definitely follows our motto of gently, quickly, and completely.
And how would you describe the Gemini version of your robotic milking system that you submitted to the Innovation Showcase?
The Gemini milking robot is a re-release of the previous Bomatic robotics line of robots, but with the merger of Bomatic robotics and Bomatic, we've made some major changes to the Gemini, including the new time-of-flight camera, which allows real-time remote view of attaching for much easier training of the teat attachments by the robot, a somatic cell counting for mastitis detection and support, and more robust axle and arm combination, as well as a new sorting, selection, and grazing system, allowing for every sorting rule that you can imagine for any type of herd installation.
What was the need in the market that you identified for some of these new innovations in your robotic milking system?
So robotic milking in Canada has grown exponentially over the last number of years, and that trend continues. At Bomatic, we strive to adhere our motto to every product we produce, making sure we milk the cow gently, quickly, completely. So from the advanced individual teat preparation to ensure that the cow has a complete milk letdown, and an advanced vacuum system to ensure that a stable environment for a quick and complete milking of the cow for each visit to the robot.
And then what makes the Bomatic milker innovative compared to other automated milking systems?
We strive ourselves in being very versatile, as well as we are the only plug-and-play installation on the market, as well as the advancements with the time-of-flight camera. You can see in real time what's going on with a problem cow, making it a lot easier for the end user to be able to make adjustments on the fly and making sure that that cow gets a proper milking on her next visit to the robot. So what do you mean exactly by plug and play? What does that mean? So plug and play with Bomatic, thankfully, with the ever-changing market and a lot of people doing changes within their own system, we're able to, with very minimal time and very minimal labor, install a robot, literally plug and play. As long as we have electrical, water, and a milk line and internet access, we can have a robot up and running in under 8 hours in one self-contained unit. That's including a milk room.
Okay. And then can you talk a bit about the orientation of your milking arm and how it works?
So Bomatic is the only milking robot, the Gemini is the only milking robot that milks from the rear. This allows us for a better angle and a more comfortable environment for the cow that is used to a parallel milking system, which is the most traditional system on the market, as well as with a dual box system, the comfort of the cow being able to have a friend beside them and very little obstruction to view outside of the robot, allowing for the animal to be a lot calmer. And again, for that gently, quickly, completely milking within the robot system.
Can you talk a bit about how that dual box system works? Other robots are close to each other. How does yours work exactly that makes it the dual robot system?
So in a double box system, the arm moves between the two cows. When one cow enters the box, she will be prepped and then attached while the other stands in waiting. Once that cow is attached and the milking process has begun, the arm will move to the second cow in the neighboring box to repeat the same process. Once she's been attached, the first cow that has completed their milking process will then be dipped with the spray arm and then released from the robot, allowing for the next cow to enter the robot.
So what's that mean for equipment need and cost? Is there an effect on that?
It is definitely slightly more cost effective in a double box system compared to putting in multiple single boxes. The advantage being that you're only having one arm installation instead of two. But you have some more variability in how you're able to set up your barn depending on the situation that you want to adhere to. With the single robot, you're able to direct traffic of the cows out of one box to two different areas. If you have a special needs area to one side of the robot and your regular milking herd to the opposite side, then we can sort from that directly instead of having to add into the gates that you may use in other systems. So it all depends on what the farmer's goals and the farmer's design of the entire system wants to be entailed.
And can you talk a bit about the innovation process of Bomatic? What sort of process is used to come up with new add-ons to, say, your robotic milking system?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the nice thing is we're constantly moving towards hardware and software updates. We do a quarterly software update that's performed onto the newest model of Geminis, as well as our existing robots that are already in the market. And all items are interchangeable. So whether it's the new camera or in previous years when we introduced the double grabber system for the attachment of the milking cups, these can be installed on any number of machines, whether they're the newest machines or the existing machines. And whether it's a single or a double box, these parts are interchangeable.
Where is the Gemini in introduction to the market, and how have people reacted to it so far?
The market reaction has been very positive. We built on the success of the previous models and made improvements on that are not only appealing to new customers, but they're also very interesting for our existing customer base. So we want to not just leave our existing customers in the dark. We want to make these new adjustments available to them as well for their machines. And
the Gemini is available now. And when was it available on farms?
It is available now. I believe we have 2 to 3 that are started now. We are today, August the 31st. We do have some installs going in Quebec that will be starting up very shortly, as well as quite a few in Europe as well.
Okay. And is there anything else you think farmers should know about the improvements to your automated milking system under the Gemini?
We just want to make sure that we're making the best equipment available to the farmer so that they have a choice in what they want moving forward with whether it be with the robotic system or with a conventional system. As we mentioned before, Bomatic is a company that's built on 80 years of experience and definitely with the cow in mind. So we want to just make sure that we're presenting the best product to the market and keeping all those things in line with our gently, quickly, completely motto. So whether it's the use of the Turbo 450 liner, which has been very successful in our conventional parlors, but we're also able to use those in our robots. So when we're designing new products, as well as the real-time activity system, which has been very popular in the marketplace, those are all systems with the same motto in mind that we're able to incorporate into these installations and make sure that we're doing the best for the farmer.
Okay, well, thank you very much for taking the time to explain the Gemini to us today.
You're very welcome, and thank you all for coming to the Outdoor Farm Show online edition.
Automated calf feeders help save farmers time on dairy farms. CalfStar is bringing several new calf feeding innovations to the market. Tom Olson is National Sales Manager with CalfStar, and he's here to tell us about them. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase, Tom.
Good morning, John. Thanks for having us.
So first of all, tell me a bit about CalfStar and the company, where you fit into the agriculture sector.
Yeah, we started years ago. We were actually in the milking side, and one of our farmers was looking for a way to feed his waste milk to his heifer calves. So my boss, Greg Apps, who's the owner of the company, actually put together a pasteurizer for him, and that was back probably 15 years ago. And since then, we've been expanding and growing and created a new company called CalfStar that actually is focused solely on calf feeding of the wet calves.
And then can you tell us a bit about your new feeder and that you've submitted to the Innovation Showcase?
Yes. The new product that we're introducing, actually it's a family of products. It's the Calf Expert feeding systems. The company that produces the calf expert itself is Holmenlau, based out of Germany. And then we have teamed up with them to produce a calf feeding system that goes from cow to calf without any human intervention. So what we're trying to do is to allow the users to feed whole milk in a whole milk feeding system without having to worry about all the, how do I collect the milk? How do I pasteurize it, get it to the calves? So we've teamed up and made this product line.
And that's sometimes been the challenge with automated calf feeding. If you want to feed whole milk, it's meant a bunch of extra steps. Can you tell me how you've, what does that look like on a farm? What are those, how have you eliminated some of those steps?
So I'll give you an example. We have a farm up in Wisconsin that we've going from the Lely robots to our raw milk storage, then into pasteurizer. Then we pump it underground for 75 to 100 meters, and then it pops up into the calf barn. And then in the calf barn itself, the double jug, which it goes into, feeds the calf expert feeding system, which feeds the calves. And so the whole system is tied together. It's all clean in place and no human intervention. So it's totally automatic.
So that's the whole milk side. What about milk replacer? How does that fit into your system?
Even though we produce pasteurizers and enjoy when people feed whole milk, if you want to feed milk replacer, we're fine with that. We have the whole, so the calf expert system will feed whole milk, it'll feed milk replacer, or a combination of either.
So what was the need in the market that you saw that you're filling with this feeder?
The need in the market is to feed the calves consistently. We're having labor issues. In the United States, for example, we're having a lot of issues with labor, quality labor that you can trust to feed your calves on a daily basis. Also getting the calves to drink 2 times a day, consistent ration, always mixed correctly to proper temperature. And farmers struggle with that. And from when I grew up, when I was younger, it was always the low person on the totem pole that was stuck feeding the calves. And that wasn't the best choice, because the lowest person on the totem pole doesn't have the ownership or feel the need that this is the future of your herd. So the product we've developed and are continually enhancing is to reduce labor, be more consistent, more and more as we possibly can to make it clean in place, to make sure the system is squeaky clean. And so that is why this product is being developed, to help the farmer to take care of those young calves to future his herd.
And what makes this product innovative compared to other similar products on the market? Like
I mentioned previously, we've teamed up with Holmenlau to develop a complete system, for example, on the whole milk side. But as far as what makes this unique is that we're focusing on our system and how it cleans, consistently feeding calves, making it easy for the user to interface with. For example, each calf expert, and you can have multiples on the farm, each one will feed between 100 and 125 calves. The display on it is graphical, so everything is very easy for the user to understand. If you have a labor force with different languages, we have at the touch of a button, you go from English to Spanish or to whatever language you're going to do. So no matter who's working on the computer, a push of the button and you will be in the language that you understand.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense on the language side. Can you talk a bit about how the product was developed? What's the innovation process in your company?
The Calf Expert itself is the next generation to the Holmenlau HL100. And that had, in today's times, it was getting towards the end of its life cycle. And so working with Holmenlau for the North American market, we had a lot of input on what products we needed here, what changes we needed. And so basically everything on our checklist was put into their system. And then on how do we tie the system together, that's where our expertise came in with pasteurizing and with dispensing systems and different ways to feed calves. So what we did is we tied that whole system together that will make it a fluid process of feeding your calves.
And where is the Calf Expert system as far as market introduction?
It was introduced at the last Euro tier. Basically, in the United States, it had a later introduction just because it was introduced locally on local farms in Europe, in Germany, for example. Now in the United States, we are just getting up and going now. So I would say probably in the last 6 months, we've really been selling many systems. So we had a big backlog. So we are very, very busy getting product from Germany, tying it in with our systems. We do all the final testing in-house, and then it's sent to the customers. So I would say we're probably into this 6 months in full production and running. So we're getting a lot of good response from it.
That was going to be my next question. What has the market reaction been to the product?
As far as when we go out and that's the part I enjoy about my job the most, is when I go visit with farmers and you start telling them some of the things it will do. And quite often you're going out to talk about something else, maybe like our milk taxi, for example. And before you leave, they're purchasing a automatic calf feeding system because they didn't think it was for them. And well, I thought that was just for the big farms. And my story is always that the smaller dairies, like in Wisconsin, even though we have some 5,000 cow dairies, for example, the majority of them are 80 cows. So your calves at that low amount actually probably have more value than these large dairies do. So it's to go out and meet with them and explain to them it's okay to feed calves with automatic calf feeding systems. Let's fit it into your budget. Let's find out what you need, and then let's design a nice system that will work for you.
And is there anything else we haven't touched on that you think farmers should know about your product?
It kind of ties in with our whole philosophy, the Calf Expert system. Calf Star, our sole, and Home and Lao also, our sole goals are let me say our focus is on feeding of wet calves. So anywhere, and really it comes down to the basic 5 C's of feeding calves, from consistency, colostrum, cleanliness, everything through the 5 C's. We want to enhance that, and so which forced us as the calf feeding experts to learn all the rest of it. So now what we've done is, we work with people on ventilation, barn design. How are you feeding colostrum? Are you bringing me a good calf to our calf feeding system? We'll feed your calves, but they have to be able to get to the stalls. So it has to do with everything, how to clean it, how to handle it. It's a totally different management system with this. So if you have hutches outside and you're going to bring them inside, ventilation's an issue. So you kind of have to throw out what you've known about feeding calves in the past, and you have to learn how to work with this new system. And that's what we focus on is being the experts to help you through that whole process and through our extensive, well-qualified dealer network.
Thank you for that, Tom. I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Appreciate it, John. Sorry we can't be up in Canada right now at the show.
Well, someday soon, hopefully.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care. There have been key hazards and challenges for farmers since they started storing liquid manure. Some of the top ones include the release of dangerous pit gases when aerating, and then also managing the consistency of manure in pits. Dairy Power has come up with a solution that helps address both of these issues, and Adam Stewart is here to tell us more. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase, Adam.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, tell me about Dairy Power. That's a company or brand new to Ontario agriculture. Tell me a bit about Dairy Power and what they do in the sector.
So we are new to Ontario and North America more broadly, but we've been around since early 70s. It's an Irish company from Cork, Ireland, and we've been in the manure management sector since then. Our primary markets have been Ireland, the UK, Europe, Scandinavia. But we've just decided at the beginning of this year to make an effort to come to North America. And what we're bringing to North America, one is our almost 50 years of experience with various scraper systems for the dairy, beef, hog, and poultry markets. And also, more interestingly, and for today's conversation on innovation, is our smart manure aeration system. And that system is a system where we're able to keep livestock manure in liquid state year round. So it's ready to pump and use whenever farmers are ready to take it, essentially.
So tell me a bit more about the smart manure aeration system. What's it look like on a farm? How does it get used on a farm? What are the advantages?
So the beginning of this system, we've got a blower motor. So this is a relatively low energy consumption blower motor, 7.5 horsepower, 5.5 kilowatts. And that provides blown air. So we're dealing with high volume, low pressure air that gets distributed out to a rotary valve system, which then distributes air out to air lines that are installed on the tank floor of your manure tank. And this can be an outdoor round tank or any sort of outdoor storage tank. It can be a slatted barn, it can be a lagoon, granted that it's lined or has a concrete floor. And then about every meter apart, we have a little aeration point off of our main supply line. And we're providing air in 1 minute intervals to each one of these lines. Then the rotary valve rotates, then we move on to the next line. And that continues until every single line in the tank has had air for this 1 minute interval. We call that a cycle. And we run a cycle like that about 3 times a day. So depending on your tank size, we're not running, 24 hours a day. We're running anywhere from 3 to maybe 6 hours of runtime a day. So very low consumption on the energy side of things. Then what farmers are getting out of this is completely liquid manure. It's ready to pump, ready to take when you're ready to take it to the field. You will never need to agitate your manure tank again. So you've got that convenience factor, no agitation, manure is ready when you are. You've got a health and safety factor, which is basically we're able to reduce the amount of methane, ammonia, other dangerous greenhouse gas emissions that are associated with manure. And we're able to achieve that by essentially converting the manure environment from an anaerobic environment where it's starved of oxygen to an aerobic environment where we're actually providing oxygen to the tank. Now, because we're pushing so much volume of so much volume of air to the tank, we're able to achieve something in the scientific and academic world is referred to as complete aeration. And we're able to satisfy the biochemical oxygen demand of whichever kind of manure is in that tank because we're giving so much air. And then with that, we're able to reduce the amounts of, like I said before, methane, ammonia, because the aerobic microorganisms consume essentially the anaerobic microbes in the manure.
So, and is there any extra work for a farmer to manage this system? How do they manage it on a farm?
Yeah, no, there's really no extra management at all. It's installed by one of our dealers, and it's oil the gearbox on that blower motor periodically. There's a drive belt on the blower motor that requires changing every 6 to 8 years. Otherwise, the system is programmed, it's set in place, and requires really no intervention at all from the farmer.
And what was the market need that was identified that needed to be filled with this product?
So the owner and founder of Dairy Power, John O'Donovan, started the company in the 70s. And in that time, there were hundreds of dairy farmers in Ireland dying every year from slurry gas poisoning. And he lost a lot of customers, a lot of friends as a result, and kind of just came to the conclusion there's got to be a better way for us to manage this. And that led him to tinkering with different systems providing air into the tanks. We've been doing this type of system for 25, 26 years now, but John started this much beyond that with prototypes in friends' barns and things like this. So it really came from, we need a safer environment for the farmers. And out of it came all these other benefits that we really had no idea were going on until we started getting anecdotal evidence back from our customers in Ireland and the UK saying, hey, my dairy doesn't smell nearly as bad as it did before. I don't have to agitate anymore. And the other benefit that I forgot to mention earlier here is the nitrogen values increase dramatically in the manure once we convert it to an aerobic state as well. So what we've been able to achieve is an increase of 70% in the ammonia nitrogen levels available in the manure, and a 48% increase in the total nitrogen available in the manure when we're comparing aerated manure to non-aerated manure. So that all started anecdotally from our customers saying, hey, I'm getting better regrowth rates in my field. I've got completely consistent growth across the field, no low points. It's growing faster, all these things, which led us to universities, smarter people than us to do the studies. And this is what we found. So we've got all these additional benefits when our main goal was really just to make a safer environment for the farmer.
Are there any limitations in which type of liquid manure storage you need for to install it?
Yeah, minimally. So we need a concrete floor or a lined floor. So any earthen lagoons without a liner, we're not able to install the system in yet. And with dairy sand bedding, that is something that we've been trialing now for about 10 months. We've got a handful of dairies in the UK, Ireland, and Europe that we've been testing on. Anybody that has sand, or even if you don't have sand, the challenges associated with it. So what we've so far been able to do is we've been able to keep the sand in suspension. We've had a number of complete extractions from these trial tanks, and we have no sand settling on the bottom. So everything's pointing the right way, but we want to do our due diligence, do our proper research before we go too crazy into a market.
So just fine on outdoor pits and pits under slatted barns. Both those are good to go.
Yes, both those are good to go. We've got several 14, 15, 16 million gallon lagoons over in Russia and Ukraine that are housing hog manure. So we're able to fasten our lines down to rubber liners or to HDPE liners. We just need somewhere to fasten the lines, basically, and we're not able to do that with earthen lagoons yet.
So this is an extra step you have to add to your installation of your manure pit. How do farmers justify that? The extra cost or the extra step?
For a couple of reasons, and so far in my discussion with farmers over here, everybody has a more important factor that they hold closer to their heart that drives them to a decision with this system. But typically and broadly, it's the convenience of not having to either invest in or buy agitation equipment, not having to pay somebody to come in every year to either work up your tank or to extract your manure. It's just the convenience and them being able to do it themselves. The other big factor is in the nutrient values and the value add there. So of all the about 3,000 customers we have running around the world right now, at a minimal, people are saying they're buying 25% less nitrogen fertilizers. So we have some people that are 40, 50, 60% less. Of course, it depends on your soil conditions and what crop you're growing. But on the lowest end of the scale, at a minimum, 25% reduction. So we have people that are ranging, 4 years and their investments paid back based on those two factors. Some guys 5, 6 years, but typically between 4 and 6 years with the nutrient additions and the convenience, not having to hire out or hire in guys to come out and work your manure or pump it or whatever they're going to do. We've had a big benefit there.
And where are you as far as market introduction here? I know I think you have it in a couple of barns here in Ontario at least.
Yeah, that's right. Right now in Ontario, we have 2 in operation in southwestern Ontario. By the time the farm show is actually running, we should be up to 5 or 6 installed here in Ontario. We also have a tank in Nova Scotia, tank in British Columbia, some down in Pennsylvania, and a few more that scattered across the Midwest USA right now.
And I know you mentioned a hog farm in Russia. I know your first couple installations here in dairy. What about other sectors like hogs, especially?
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes I can get confused with our company name being Dairy Power, but we're not just dairy. The company started with dairy, but hog and beef have become very big markets for us in the aeration sector. So we're dealing in dairy, we're dealing hog, beef. The tank that we're doing out in British Columbia is actually a water buffalo. We're doing compost facilities. We're doing food processing facilities, wastewater facilities. So it's broader than just agriculture, and it's diversified within agriculture as well.
Good. And then is there anything else you think farmers need to know about your product?
Very low energy consumption motor. We've got dealer network spread out across Canada now that's been established this year with trusted farm equipment suppliers. So yes, we're an Irish company. I'm located here in Ontario, but we've got dealer network across Canada. So, there will be that local coverage or what have you there and support. And if anybody's interested in seeing a system running, we're happy to coordinate some visits. There's going to be the system running, of course, at the Outdoor Farm Show as well, and there should be some additional videos available online soon to show that.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time to explain this to us, Adam.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Technology has existed to clean air in buildings, but it hasn't usually been practical in barns and other farm buildings. Ogena Solutions has an air purification system that could change that. Mark Bevan, Vice President of Agriculture Sales, and Lucas Pantaleon, who is their technical veterinarian with Ogena, are here to explain how it works. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase.
Thanks for having us.
So first of all, tell me a bit about Ogena and what it does in the agriculture sector.
Yeah, let me start, and let me define first a concept that maybe your audience is not very familiar with. Is the concept of One Health, and this concept of One Health is basically understanding and addressing complex health issues or problems that arise from the relationship between human, animal, and the environment. For example, infection prevention or infectious diseases or food safety are all those things that could be tackled with a One Health mindset. And Ogena Solutions is a One Health focused company, and it's basically focused on infection prevention. And we as a company over the last 15 years have worked in different aspects of infection prevention and biosecurity, not just in the veterinary setting, protecting animals and the animal care team, but also in agricultural, animal shelters, and kennels. So we are proud to try to bring some innovative technologies into the agricultural system, especially in this the times of a pandemic that could not also protect animals, but also protect humans from infectious diseases.
So tell us about Ogena Shield, and which is the product that you've submitted to the Innovation Showcase, and how it works.
First of all, I should clarify. Ogena Shield is a family name of a number of products that we're about to launch. With the first one being this Ogena Shield air purifier. The Ogena Shield air purifier employs a proprietary enhancement to the established photocatalytic oxidization, or PCO technology. PCO technology was developed more than 20 years ago. It's been proven to kill volatile organic compounds such as molds, fungus, bacteria, and viruses. But one of the challenges of traditional PCO technology was that it also produced ozone. Ozone, as I'm sure your viewers are aware, is dangerous to humans and animals. So the traditional PCO technology, it was prevented to operate when humans and animals were present. So this advanced product, this advancement on the traditional PCO technology, it's called active photodynamic oxidization technology. I know that's a mouthful to say. It continues to attack and eliminate the VOCs, the volatile organic compounds, but without the harmful levels of ozone being present. In fact, the Ogena Shield air purifier has actually received the California Air Resource Board approval, CARB approval. Your viewers may know, have heard that the CARB air quality standard is one of the strictest standards in the world. So to receive this CARB approval is quite revolutionary. So this actually translates, though, into the device being able to be operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with or without animals present or humans present. because of that, this allows the device to treat much larger volumes of air than traditional air treatment systems were able to do. With the three model sizes of the Ogena Shield air purifier, the largest model actually is able to treat up to 15,000 square feet with a 10-foot ceiling. So we're talking large volumes of air. For areas greater than that, you can actually employ multiple units to treat the airspace. So when you compare the Ogena Shield air purifier with other air cleaning technologies that are in existence, whether it be HEPA filters or UVC light or ozone generators, the Ogena Shield air purifier is truly revolutionary. It's clearly above and beyond in terms of safety, capability, and efficacy. There's no frequent need to change filters, for example. There's no safety issues, which allows for the 24/7 operation. There's no black wall syndrome. It has such a large coverage area. So that's why Ogena was pretty excited to partner with the manufacturer on this and introduce it to the animal, into the entire agricultural world.
And how do you see it being used on farm? How would it fit into a farming operation?
I mean, we see it on a number of different levels. I mean, first of all, when we originally actually started looking for this kind of technology and researching on it a year ago. And we were looking for some sort of air treatment system or device or technology to be able to treat large volumes of air in the production facility. So for the animal's sake. Then COVID, we found this and we started partnering with the company. Then COVID hit, the pandemic started, and we realized, well, wait a minute, we also have to protect, the farm staff, the farm employees. I mean, we've seen firsthand what happens when, farm employees, get infected with COVID. The food chain, the food supply chain, unfortunately, comes exposed and can halt. So we started realizing, and it fit well with our One Health concept that our approach that Lucas mentioned. So we see this being used in from a human health aspect in lunchrooms, anterooms, washrooms, shower rooms, that sort of thing. And then from the animal health aspect, yes, we see this being used, for example, in farrowing rooms. I mean, PRRS is an issue with our swine farmers. We see this being used actually, in dairy barns and in the milk houses for, to help protect during, for bacteria. We see this being used in large poultry houses. As I said, because of the large volume of air that it can treat, we think it would be effective in poultry houses as well.
Just let me add a little bit to the very good summary that Mark just mentioned. What we need to think about is that this device, because of these charges and hydroxyl radical particles that come out of it, it doesn't only treat the air, which it does very well, but also it could go and land on surfaces. So potentially destroying some of the microorganisms that are on certain surfaces. So this technology is not aimed to sort of replace biosecurity or cleaning and disinfection. Is a complement to doing all the things that we do in animal agriculture to keep the environment, the animals, and the people safe. So it would be an additional tool that farmers would use to protect environment and the air in this case.
That's right, Lucas. I mean, a very good point, because what Ogena Solutions was trying to come up with, John, was right now farmers, I mean, they clean and disinfect on a regular basis, and they do a very good job of it. Unfortunately, though, there was really no level, there was a lacking of protection between cleaning and disinfection events. So we clean and disinfect the barn today. Starting tomorrow, there was a risk of disease introduction to the facility until the next cleaning and disinfection, which, in cases of layer houses, could be a year down the road. So we were looking for something to fit that moniker of a protect label. So we clean and disinfect, and now we protect between those events, and that's what we see the Ogena Shield air purifier doing.
So I'm trying to get a sense of the efficacy. You know, if people, we have different conversations about viruses now than we did 6 months ago. So how much protection can it give you, say, airborne viruses in hog barns, for say, or COVID-19, for example?
No, that's a very good question, John. And we have evidence that other PCO technology and others, there has been quite extensive testing for on PCO technology over the years, and there is a fairly good effect on viruses and non-envelope viruses, which are tough to kill, but also on envelope viruses, which is the ones that are, for example, for the flu or the SARS that is causing the COVID-19 as well. So there is some evidence there. We are internally carrying on some testings, and we have done some testing on surfaces, which we saw a decrease in the amount of viruses and bacteria on surfaces. And now we are, in the next month or so, we're going to be doing an aerosolize, a test with aerosols that will mimic how well this particular unit kills pathogens in the air itself. So as I say, this will be a complement. It doesn't sterilize the air, doesn't sterilize the environment. It just brings down the level of pathogens in the environment or on surfaces. So you still have to be careful. For example, for COVID-19, you still have to wear, a face mask. You still have to have social distancing. You still have to wash your hands and do all those things. But this will have an additional increase your safety factor.
Good, thanks. How does the product look for a farmer that would think they'd put this into their building? Is it a standalone? Does it go on the wall? What's the practical installation?
It's actually a simple device that looks like a traditional air purifier for those that know what an air purifier looks like, and it simply can mount on the wall and plug in. The only thing that in terms of maintenance of the product, there is a UV bulb inside that it acts along with the titanium catalyst that's in there. That the UV bulb, the lifespan on the UV bulb is approximately 2.5 years. So that would have to be changed, in that 2.5 year time. And that's it, though. It's a very easy to use self-contained unit that plug and play, as they say.
And is there anything else you think we should know about the product?
We want to emphasize that this is not as Lucas has said, it's not a be-all and end-all. It's just another tool in the toolbox. And producers, from what I hear and when talking to producers every day, they're looking for those kind of solutions to help them, because they know that it's all about risk reduction, infection control, biosecurity. All these measures are about risk reduction. And so anything that they can, to do and to employ, to put in their barns, to use, to help reduce the risk, because they're under attack, they're under a threat of infection and disease, constantly. So producers are always looking for those tools to put in their arsenal to reduce that risk. And with Ogena Shield air purifier, it's very cost effective. We're not talking big money here. And producers, I believe, are going to receive these very well and put it in, as I said, add it to their toolbox.
And where are we as far as market's release of the product, availability?
With regards to market, we have deployed a couple of testing units in the US and Canada. We have had very positive feedback thus far. There's some large producers that they are actually doing some more in-depth testing, looking at bacterial reduction in a room after using this unit. And we have sold a few units in in the shelter and animal agricultural environment in the U.S. For just starting in the market, for just bringing this product in the market, I think we have received a fairly positive reviews so far, and I think these, coupled with the science that we have on PCO technology and the future testings that Ogena Solutions is doing on the unit itself, I think is going to be a good product to have, like Mark said, in the toolbox for the farmers.
Well, thank you very much for that summary, and I appreciate it. Is there anything else you think we should know?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for taking the time today, and take care.
Well,
Thanks, John. Take care.
Thank you.
Agricultural fan efficiency is critical because of the amount of power they use in barns. The DAX Mag fan has several features that make it highly energy efficient. Matthew Daniel works in technical sales with Poles Enterprises, the distributor of the fan, and he's going to tell us more about it. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase, Matthew.
Hi, thank you. Basically, the Mag fan, what we're looking at here is it's part of a fan package, I like to say, that has been kind of the whole thing passed over with a fine brushed comb. They really looked at every single aspect of the fan and made sure that it was optimized for efficiency and air movement. So they looked at the housing of the fan, how the tunnel and the cone work together to provide more efficiency. They looked at the blades of the fan. The product was developed by two brothers who happen to be aeronautics engineers, so they know about fan and air movement and things of the like. The motor was also selected specifically for its energy efficiency. So the motor itself is a magnetic motor, a permanent magnet motor, a brushless design, and it's all controlled through a frequency drive. So the efficiencies from the drives also come into play in that regard. One of the optional features that's really nice with the fan too is they have what they call a mag door, which is basically an insulated roll-up panel that works automatically with the fan. So when there's no demand on that particular fan, the roll-up door comes down. It gives you an airtight seal, so you don't get any leakage like you would with louvers and things of the like. And when the fan does become in demand, that door will automatically open up, and the fan will power on and start moving air for you.
So that would help the insulation of your barn when the ventilation isn't needed.
Yes, ventilation, and it also helps with the air pattern because you don't get, even with louvers, they'll stop most of the air leakage, but you still get, like, louvers have cracks throughout them, so you still get some air leakage through those, whereas with the mag door, that's completely eliminated. So your air is actually coming in the barn where you would like it to.
And how does the efficiency of the fan compare to other fans on the market?
Roughly, we're looking at about a third of the electrical use of a standard fan of the same size.
How have you measured that to be able to make that claim?
Well, firstly, there's the data sheets and stuff that are produced by the manufacturer DAX. Those are available on the website. Last year, they also went through a whole whack of testing with a laboratory down in the US called Best Labs. So they test fans for the US market, and basically a fan can't be sold into agriculture in the US without going through Best Labs. So all of the different models of mag fans with DAX have now been through Best Labs testing. So that data is now available to consumers as well. And there's also the fact that we've been selling the fans for some time now. So we have actual field data that we can compare, similar barns that run standard fans, standard ventilation versus farms that are similar with the DAX fan package.
And what sort of agriculture operations are using this type of fan?
I'd say it's pretty much been unanimous across the board. Our company is primarily focused on chicken production. That's what most of our distributed products go into. But lately, we've seen a big rise in demand on both the hog and dairy side, with more and more focus being put on animal comfort in those two industries. Powered ventilation is becoming more and more of a discussion with those producers. So what we've noticed is we've done several projects now on the hog side where we're doing positive pressure ventilation, which is a whole other concept in itself, but the mag fans have really been a gift to us in that regard, just as much so in negative pressure standard ventilation applications. If you can eliminate 3-4 fans that run at anywhere between 4 and 8 amps for one fan that will run at its highest efficiency maybe at 2 to 3 amps, and you get more air movement, that at the end of the day is very tangible for the producer.
And what are some of the specifications around this fan? How big of a fan is it, and where is it usually used on a barn?
Yeah, so we typically sell it as a 56-inch fan. Most of the time it's done in a tunnel configuration or some type of variation of tunnel. There's nothing that limits it from being used as a cross ventilation fan as well. And they also have a miniaturized version of it that's now available. This is a fairly new addition to the product lineup. So we refer to that fan as the Mag Fan Mini. It's essentially just a downsized version of the Mag Fan, 36-inch instead of 56-inch fan.
And where is the product in availability to the Canadian market at this point?
It's fully available. We have shipments coming in regularly from Denmark. So the manufacturer Dax is located in Denmark. We've had stupendous demand for this fan ever since we hit the market with it. They've been going as quickly as they've been coming in. So,
right. And what do you attribute that demand to?
Well, everybody knows that energy costs and stuff, they are not going to be going down in the future. Most likely the opposite trend has been true for years, decades now, where we see those energy costs going up. Knowing that, one of the only things that we have to fight back with is diving into some of these energy efficient products, whether it's in your ventilation or in your lighting, your water management systems. Everything that we tend to look at now, we look at with always the optics of energy efficiency in the back of our minds, right? And this product ties into that mentality so in such a solid way that it's at the forefront of almost every discussion that we have now.
That's interesting. And what do you know about how the product was developed? How does the company go about developing these types of innovative products?
So like I said at the beginning, the company was started by two brothers who were both aeronautics engineers. So they came from that background, and they noticed that there was a lack of high efficiency fans in the agricultural market. A lot of companies would focus on motor efficiency, and then you would have a few companies that would focus maybe on propeller efficiency and design that, but there didn't seem to be any company that actually decided to look at the whole package, the whole fan package, from the front of the fan box right to the tail end of the cone, including the energetic components like the motor and the moving parts like the fan blades and things like that. Just to give one small example, one of the first things you'll notice looking at the mag fan is the cone is actually beveled out at the end. Typically, you would see just a straight cone, and they say just that beveling at the end of the fan gives you an efficiency boost of a decent margin. So it's just small little things like that throughout the entire fan package that have added up to this magnificent product that we have today.
And what else should farmers know about the fan? Is there anything else we haven't talked about that they should know about?
No, I think we hit pretty much all the marks here on the mag fan. Maybe one thing to know about is that the mag fan is one lineup that Dax does have. They provide entire ventilation packages, from everything to tunnel fans, sidewall fans, to even ceiling ventilation, if somebody is interested in looking in at that, with fan chimneys and chimney inlets as well. So there's other innovations through Dax that are available to the market.
There's more of a trend to low profile tunnel ventilated dairy barns. How would this product fit into that market?
That's an interesting question, because we've actually just wrapped up a project, similar project to that, with a very large dairy barn by Canadian standards that went through decided to go to tunnel ventilation, and they went with the mag fans across the board. So they actually put 40 of these mag fans in. The really interesting thing with the mag fan is there's sort of a sweet spot in terms of energy efficiency. So what we like to do is we like to have all these fans come on at a fairly low speed. And once all the fans are running, that's when we start ramping them up and down together. So it's really impressive to watch one of these barns start to stage up throughout the day as the weather outside is getting warmer, and actually feel the air movement, going across your body and obviously across the cows there and cooling them off. And we're also working now on several other projects with several other producers that are looking at doing the same thing. Some of them a bit smaller scale because that's fairly large, but there's definitely an interest building up in the dairy side in regards to, like you said, tunnel powered ventilation, but also energy efficiency, because they know, just like chicken producers and hog producers, those energy costs are there and they're real.
Good. Well, thank you for explaining this to us, and we appreciate you taking the time.
No problem.
Function of animal immune systems becomes ever more important as livestock producers attempt to reduce the use of antimicrobials. The PMT group has a new product called ProAct that can help improve the immune function of animals. Paula Hadland is a technical sales rep for Western Canada with the PMT group. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase, Paula.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a bit about the PMT group, first of all. What does it do within the agriculture sector?
Right, so PMT Group consists of two companies. One is Prairie Microtech, and what they do is they produce animal feed for agriculture, milk replacers, supplements, feed additives, and then the sister company is Essentials Inc., and they provide over 50 flavors of animal feed flavors. And
then tell me about the ProAct product that you submitted to the Innovation Showcase.
It's created by using the mammary glands of a dairy cow, hyperimmunizing them with various diseases. Cows are challenged with the most common diseases of poultry, swine, lambs, and cattle. The mammary gland does not discriminate against these diseases. So it launches a response to prevent damage and invasion. One of these responses is to generate cell signaling proteins. These proteins are called cytokines. That direct the immune system to focus on specific invaders. The cytokines are separated out into its ultrafiltration, and then it's fed back to the animals. The cytokines, they're not digested, so they remain whole and functional. So they make the immune system respond. The product complements the innate and adaptive immune systems and works quickly on the disease challenges. So an animal's immune system consists of cells that recognize invading or foreign cells and destroy them. Animals are born without this ability, and they receive a short immunity from their mother's colostrum. And this passive immunity wears out after about 3 weeks. So from this point, the young animal has to build their own library of immunity. So it takes a while, right? They have to build that from their environment and being in contact with bacteria and viruses that challenge them. So what ProAct does is it bridges this gap in immunity and helps build their own library of diseases and attacks those diseases.
And how is it administered to the animal? What's the process that the animal?
So it is heat soluble, and it's actually water soluble too. So you can feed it through the feed, milk replacer, water. It's not injected, it's actually through feed, and that it stays whole, and then it acts as a cell signaling for the immune system.
And what age of animal gets the product?
So it can be fed right from young animals to adults. It just depends on your health of your herd. Some animals, when they're young, they haven't developed their immunity. So even into their adult years, they need some help to build that immunity.
And at what point does a farmer decide to use it? Is it something someone will just decide to use all the time, or do they use it to treat certain symptoms in their herd or conditions?
Yeah, it's not a treatment. It's ProAct, right? So it's proactive on diseases. So you can use it right when their immunity is at risk, that 3 weeks after they're done with their colostrum into, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Yeah.
And do farmers buy it themselves and administer it, or is it something that some people run through their feed system?
So yeah, we don't sell at PMT. We don't sell directly to the producer. So they would get it through their feed mill, and the feed mill would put it in their feed. They would also, buy it to put in their milk replacer.
And so, what was the need in the market that was identified that required this type of product?
Right. So I think with the increase of RWA, the raised without antibiotics, this is a natural product and it comes right from the dairy cow. So it's had some positive impact on that.
And what makes it innovative compared to other products in the market?
So it's unique and it's on its own, right? It's not an antibiotic or probiotic or prebiotic or anything like that. The only other product that maybe comes close to it, and I don't know if it's natural, can only be fed in the colostrum, where this can be fed right throughout.
So tell me a bit about the development process, the innovation process within the company. How was the product developed?
So we are the Canadian distributors of the product, and it comes from Iowa. And it was actually a veterinarian in southern Saskatchewan that alerted us of the benefits of it. And then we went and got the Canadian rights to distribute it up here.
Tell me about the market availability of it. Is it available now? How long has it been available? And what's the reaction been to it?
Right. So we launched it in March of this year. And so it has had a really positive impact. A lot of large producers are starting to put it into their feed and their milk replacer and finding some great benefits of it. And the data is starting to come in. So it'll be interesting to receive more data and build these animals' immunity
And is there anything else that you think people need to know about your product?
Yeah, it is, it's so unique and it's so interesting. It's new to me and I think it's new to everybody. Like I said, it's not a vitamin or a mineral or a probiotic or a prebiotic or any, it's in a class of its own. And I don't think anybody else can compete with it.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Paula, and telling us about ProAct.
Thanks for having me.